Sure.
Congrats on your first geopolitical summit here in Japan. Why Japan? And I can guess, but why Japan? And what's been the response so far?
Look, I think the importance of Japan in a world where we see so many people in liberal democracies and advanced industrial democracies don't like their governments, don't think they're fit for purpose, a lot of extremism. Japan is still seen as a model for how liberal democracy can work, and they don't have anything like this. So I've been stunned. We have 41 CEOs of Japanese companies participating, in addition, among the participants, and over 20 media outlets, and something I think we're going to develop every year.
You're seeing a return of relevance to Japan after 20 years or so of economic stagnation, and also a rise of a strong leader for the first time in Abe.
So the strong leader, yes. I mean, if you had asked me a year ago, is the strongest leader in a liberal democracy going to be not the American president, not the German chancellor, not the UK prime minister, but Shinzo Abe? We would have said, that's crazy. And it turns out that that's actually where we are right now. That's not necessarily good news for Japan because they need strong allies. But the economic issue is another one, right? I mean, there's still plenty of economic stagnation in Japan. What's interesting is the population's getting smaller, so the average Japanese doesn't feel like globalization doesn't work for them.
Right.
Furthermore, no immigration. So you don't have this sense of, oh my God, we need to keep all these people out. Like Japan kind of still feels like the Japanese dream, whatever it is, kind of works. Not many people showed up for that Japanese election. So it's not like Abe is super popular, but Japan kind of works. And in an environment where people are saying Europe doesn't work, the UK doesn't work, America doesn't work, this is interesting.
One of the divisive issues, though, here in Japan is the revision or the potential revision of the pacifist constitution, given the threat in North Korea. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that happens? And what does it mean for the power balance with China?
I think it's a bad idea. And I say that as someone who has a lot of respect for Prime Minister Abe.
Your Asia MD, Evan Madero, said it was a good idea just a few minutes ago.
That's fine. You know, I mean, he's allowed to have that opinion. Look, the fact is that, number one, it's not very popular. And so he's going to have to do a lot of work to get it done. He's going to have to actually seriously use political capital to make Japan change the constitution. I know why Evan said he likes it. Evan came out of the U.S. administration, and the United States wants Japan to do more militarily. That's from an American perspective. But from a global perspective, from a Japanese perspective, do you really want to use your capital to alienate the Chinese to a greater degree, the country that clearly is going to matter a hell of a lot more for you economically over time than the United States presently does? I would argue that's not the best way to go, especially since Abe might fail. And so, you know, if you're Japan over the long term, you're never going to be a serious military competitor to China. What you could be is a big Singapore. What you could be is a constellation of world-class cities that work with the best infrastructure in the world, the best service sectors in the world, with, you know, health care for some of the oldest people in the world that's effective, and the Chinese will actually want to work with